one free throw. Could you tell everybody what you said to the rim?
Thank you. About 3 or 4 of them bobbled in and out. I think the first 2 that bobbled in and out, they went out. And the next 2 did. So, appreciate that from the rim.
Tracy, second half, it seems like you changed up the lineup a little bit. What did that do for you guys, and just what changed in that second half?
We got a lot of different guys who play a lot of different positions, 1, 2, and 3. That lineup just happened to be good for us tonight, and we had the momentum a little bit. We even switched it up, and we still was making plays. I just think Coach been talking a lot about strength in numbers, and that's one of the strengths of our team. So tonight, there was exemplification of what that was.
Here in the front.
Malcolm, how did it feel to play 40 minutes following the last week? How did it feel to play 40 minutes of quality basketball against a good opponent tonight?
It felt good. Great. Like I said, I tell everybody, we played 2 types of teams in Brooklyn that, they pressure the ball and deny really hard. I think that kind of made us better because, not too many teams pressure hard like that in the country, especially against West Virginia. That was a different type of pressure. I think we took those 2 losses well and learned from it.
All right. Jeremy faked me out. There he is.
Leron, do you feel like you and the rest of the team are kind of – Coach brings up synchronization all the time. Do you feel like tonight was that moment?
Yeah, I feel like we just coming together as a team. Like each and every game, we just get used to playing with each other because I had never played with Tracy before. I had never played with J. Cole before. So I feel like as the game's going by, we just getting better as a team and getting more chemistry.
Malcolm or Tracy, you guys shot 68% in the second half. What do you think was the key behind that?
You got it. Did you hear what he said?
I just think we was real patient on offense. We put the ball in guys' hands who was making plays tonight. Malcolm was pretty good tonight, and he was real aggressive. Myself, so we just building. J. Cole did what he was supposed to do. Leron did his role. It was just a lot of guys out there playing their role at a high level. And when we play like that, we can compete against any team.
Malcolm, you said that you handled those losses well. Can you talk about just the way, maybe the team came together, losing 3 in a row? A lot of teams maybe, wouldn't come into this and play as well as you guys did. What was the kind of key to stopping that losing streak?
Just not thinking about being on that losing streak. I'm pretty sure it was in the back of a lot of people's heads that, we just lost 3 in a row. We're kind of desperate. We didn't feel desperate at all. All we were thinking about was just our strategies to beat NC State, not like, what was us, like we lost 3 in a row. Perfectly fine. It's still early in the season. When tomorrow hits, we're going to focus on VCU, get a good strategy for them.
Either Tracy or Malcolm, this game, when you played Winthrop last Monday, down the stretch you had the 10-point lead and didn't close it out. Did you have this in your mindset you were going to finish this one, and instead of just being up 10, you extended that lead? Maybe talk about that finishing, the mindset.
We definitely aware that we was very immature about how we handled the last 3 minutes with Winthrop. Obviously, we was up 10 points. So, today, we just talked about in the huddle in the same situation, just, be smart, know the situation, and, run some clock and put the ball in guys' hands.
Any other questions for the players? Shannon?
For Tracy or Leron, Malcolm had that pretty good move there at the end. What did you guys think when you saw that basket?
You talking about the layup?
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty sweet. I was hoping he would get back so we can get another stop and kind of make another play like that. So I like seeing him make plays like that, though.
Yeah, I was over there on the sideline, and, we like to have fun over there. So when he made it, we just had fun like we always do.
Anything else for the players?
I mean, I'm pretty sure our strength coach is going to get on me. I'm probably going to tell me I should have dunked it, with my new vertical, but, take 2 points.
Really proud of the guys, the way that they responded. Obviously, last week from an outcome perspective was not what any of us wanted, and I thought we came back. We had a day off, and really over the course of 2 days, I just have a great bunch of guys. I mean, they met on their own. We had a team meeting. We had senior meetings, individual meetings, and that was really the bulk of the 2 days. We practiced, obviously, those 2 days, but just about an hour each day. We wanted to make sure that we knew, watched a lot of film, what we needed to get corrected in order to play better. And, the 3 or 4 things that were emphasized, I saw traction in those 3 or 4 areas today, and, give the guys a lot of credit. Obviously NC State offensively, I mean, they're a load. Smith's terrific, and Dorn and Henderson can shoot the ball, and Boo had 14 double-doubles last year. He was terrific today. I mean, they're obviously the percentages that they shot aren't necessarily what we want defensively long-term, but they're a load to guard. Fortunately for us, we took care of the ball well in the second half with 2 turnovers. I thought that was excellent. We took better shots in the second half. I thought our effort was – we sustained it for the full 40 minutes. And I thought when with 10 minutes to go, we actually ratcheted it up another level. And that was good to see at both ends of the floor. Obviously I thought Abrams, I mean, his willpower just is amazing. I mean, it really is. I mean, he's just a tough guy. I mean, his voice, his leadership I thought was invaluable. I thought we got contributions from a lot of guys. I thought the energy level of Black is just contagious. I mean, it's just he plays the game with such enthusiasm and energy, and that I thought that was a good thing for us as well. Questions?
Difficulty of adjusting your own coaching style to having so many available players.
Yeah, no, we're strength in numbers. We talked a lot about that over the last 2 or 3 days. It's just, guys, work hard. I mean, it takes a certain mindset for it to be that way. They need to understand, and we talked about it, that with our strength in numbers, minutes may vary more so than normal. I think it's a great point, Rob, versus playing maybe a 6 or 7 man rotation. And are we going to embrace that could be a real strength for us? What's the best way for us to do that and handle that, and obviously be great teammates and be excited for other guys when they do well, and how each game's going to be different, dictated by the opponent and dictated by what we need to do in a given game. And tonight I thought I saw that. I thought that was a lot of our conversation the last couple of days as well, because you're right, it's tricky. The last time I had this much depth was my last year at Ohio, and even then it was tricky, especially early. And we're certainly, I wouldn't say we've nailed it yet, Rob, but we took a step in the right direction today. Shannon.
That approach you took of the meetings and kind of doing more off the court stuff, what made you think that was the right approach? A lot of coaches, go hard on the guys, or want to do on-court instruction. What made this particular time that the right move for you guys?
It's a great question. Just instinct, Shannon. I don't know. I mean, I felt like the mind is so much, and as I do this for a little while, but the mind is just as, if not more important than the physical part. And to be honest with you, I think part of it for me was that I thought we really played really hard in that last game in New York City. I just didn't think we played very well. So it's one thing if you go out and you're not playing hard, you're not competing, we did that. We just needed to play better. We needed to take care of the ball better. We needed to take better shots. We needed to move the ball better. But it wasn't because of a lack of effort. In fact, I didn't think that was the case at all in any of the 3 losses last week. I just think we needed to play better, embrace our roles better, take better shots, move the ball better, be in better position defensively, all the execution things. And but I think to do those things, alluding to Rob's question, I thought was a good one. You gotta have the right mindset. I call it pure heart and pure mind. And I do think there is a transition period when we have a deep team and we've had guys pop in and out of it at different times in practice through the first 50-some practices. Whether it's a guy getting 1 out of every 4 days off, a guy getting 1 out of every 3, Hill missing the first 10 practices, J. Cole missing the first week, Tijon not starting until October 3rd. Like, it's, I've used the word synchronization a lot, and that's really what I was alluding to. I don't think by any means we're completely synchronized at this point, but at least we made some progress tonight.
John,
Let's talk more about that subbing. Is this instinct?
You gonna let him go, Jeremy, out of respect? Especially since we cut him off the other day when he was talking about competing.
Go ahead and hand him the mic there,
so
Jeremy.
Lauren, we're gonna go with you, big guy.
Oh, he's gone. Okay.
Well, I just want was this based on instinct on your part? Is it being concerned about tired players? Is it something that you plan? I mean, how the substitution? You're doing a lot of it. I just
there's no question that our thought is we want to run, we want to rebound, we want to give extraordinary effort, and we want to use our depth to our advantage. Now, will guys' minutes, potentially certain guys change night in, night out? That's the tricky part that Rob was alluding to earlier, that guys have got to embrace that we have a deep team and we'll have, it might look different. We might have leading scores that are different each night. We got a lot of guys that are capable. Depends on who we're playing, how they're playing. Are they small? Are they big? Are we going to try to match with them? Or are we going to try to countermatch them and go big when they're small or small when they're big or whatever we think's best at the time? In order to do that, the players have to have tremendous flexibility, especially mentally. And I thought today we did that. I certainly thought our conversations over the last couple days really led us in that direction where we were able to do that tonight.
One other question relative to how you used Hill in the late stages out on top.
Yeah.
When did you start doing that?
We've done that before. Obviously, we did a lot last year. We've done it in practice. We've done it. Yeah, we've done it in games. We did it last year in games a ton. We've done it some in games even this season. Today, probably a little bit more. That's probably why you noticed it a little bit more. Dustin and I both felt like he had a great feel for what was going on out there. He was in attack mode. He was in a zone a little bit in terms of making decisions and making plays, and so we were riding him there a little bit towards the end.
John, second half, you obviously changed the lineup to start. What did you see that you wanted to go to that group? And Jalen Tate only played 0 minutes in the second half.
I just think those guys that played that I started the second half with that played really well in the first half, and I just decided to go ahead and, so I haven't done that a lot. You guys have been with us the whole way. Usually I start the same lineup the second half that I did the first half. Again, it was just an instinct thing. It was an instinct thing, and obviously that group played pretty well. And then we got good contributions off of the guys that came off the bench as well in the second half.
Twice as efficient offensively in the second half. I mean, shoot 68%. What do you think triggered that, man? Just the overall second half effort.
Not playing hero ball. Passing the ball, moving the ball, cutting hard, trusting each other, trusting the offense, but more than we certainly did last week. Getting it to the second, third side, just a lot of different things, But we executed better. Thought we were more precise, and then obviously our guys made shots. That isn't always I'm more concerned about the quality of the shot we get and the quality of possession. I don't get too worried about necessarily whether it goes in or not. Obviously, I'd like for all of them to go in. I think our players are talented enough that if they take good ones, we can make a good enough percentage to win. But at the end of the day, you can't control that sometimes. The quality of the possessions, I thought, were much better, Scott, in the second half.
Here on the right side.
Over here, kind of a follow-up to the shot quality question. Best I can glean from the shot chart here, I count about 70% of total shots were, and 35% of the two-point attempts were mid-range shots. Yeah. Obviously, you guys had a roll in the second half, 68%. Leron, Malcolm both had that going, that mid-range going. Is that something sustainable moving forward? that you'd
Yeah,
like
I
to
don't
see, or is
know. I
that
mean, obviously,
percent-
I'll take a look at it. You've got it right there. But, obviously, we want to try to attack the paint. And, Malcolm has a gift in the mid-range area. And then Leron does on catch and shoots in that area. He obviously made a couple of them. You almost feel like every time he shoots it from about 15 to 17 foot that it's going to go in. It's going to go in.
The second half defensively, you used a lot of zone, you used a lot of man, but you kind of tweaked your man, it looked like, in the second half where you were shading more guys in the center to keep Smith out of the lane, possibly. I mean,
Yeah.
it seemed like that it was really effective being able to change defenses. Young team, they got a little confused with what you were doing?
I thought it was good for us. You say that, and they shot 53% for the game. I mean, but I knew going into the game they were a load on offense. We played some good teams, obviously, thus far, and teams have different styles. But, their offense coming into the game reminded me of Winthrop's offense, which I thought was just terrific, watching them play going into that game. And, obviously what Johnson was able to do that day, I was concerned a little bit with Dennis Smith. A similar type of team, 4 guards, spread you out. And I thought all in all, we did a pretty good job. Obviously 53% is not a great number. We'll have to see why they shot that. I think one of the things that helped us is we were active. We deflected a lot of balls. And so a lot of the reason I think our defensive efficiency was pretty good in 2 of those defenses is because we were able to force 19 turnovers. So we'll take a look at it. I'm sure there's some things we need to clean up. But the mixing I thought was good.
John, obviously last year we heard Tracy's voice on the bench, but is there any way to quantify what it means to have him on the court with his voice?
No. No, it's not possible. The greatest compliment, he makes me feel better.
The shot chart. Did anybody talk to JCL to remind him that he's more than just a three-point shooter?
He drove the one, obviously made a big layup late. I thought tonight he played with a really clear mind and really attacked and was aggressive and did his job really well and embraced it. And I was excited for him because he's, for his standard and, even mine for him, I got a lot of respect for him as a player. He had not played as well as he wanted to play. And, the players can be like coaches. They aren't real patient. And, his journey's been a little bit different with, what he's went through and with the hand and missing the first week of practice and just honoring the process. I kept telling him to do that. So it was great to see a couple go in for him tonight, for him and for our team. But I thought he also did some good things in addition to his shot making today. I think he really settled in, and hopefully we can build on that.
He also had another behind-the-back pass, and he found Mike Thorne in the lane, a really nifty pass. Are those the kinds of things?
I'm glad he completed it.
Yeah. Do you get nervous when you see him do that?
Well, he's 1 for 2. The other night he didn't complete it. The other day, today he completed it.
John, Leron seems to me plays with an edge that's a little different than a lot of your guys. Do you agree that that's something your team needs, somebody out there that plays that way?
No question. And he brings that to the table. He's always done that, Tup, but he's at a different, I've said this before, it's a different mindset right now than I think I've seen him have. And I would say it's because he really is appreciative and grateful for the second chance. As a person and what he's learned as a student and how he's doing academically as a player, he understands, and he's very outspoken about it, that it's his responsibility to learn and be better, to share his story, to help others. And that's pretty unique for a guy that age. He just doesn't have bad days. He really didn't have a whole lot of them before, but I think he would tell you that every second he gets to put on that uniform, every practice, the opportunity he gets to walk the campus, he doesn't take it for granted. Let's put it that way. And I think it's made him even better in a lot of areas.
In the back?
Back here in the back. Couple games now since the West Virginia game. Do you feel like you're better prepared to handle pressure in the VCU Havoc defense?
We'll see.
Here in the front.
After a pretty good start, Mav was kind
kind of quiet for a few games in a row. Did
Yeah.
he need something like this tonight where he got going in the second half? And maybe the 6 rebounds is more than he's had all year.
He was really good tonight. He was good. He was good in the Florida State game. Defensively, he was really good. In the Florida State game today, he was really good again. Obviously, he added some production on the stat sheet to that, Scott, today with his finishing in and around the basket, his rebounding, he's really smart. He sees things at both ends of the floor. He anticipates things. He can see them before they develop, which is really valuable for us. And when he's playing with that type of physicality and edge and he's competing, then obviously those things get even more accentuated. And I thought in the last 2 games he's really done that.
Anything else for Coach? All right.
Thanks, guys.
Derek, when's your